Hello and welcome to Two Trues Gaming. It's the Middle-earth strategy battle game grand tournament at Warhammer World this weekend. Myself and Aaron got together to discuss our army list that we'll be bringing and how we think we might do. It's the first of 3 videos that will be on Two Trues about the grand tournament. So we've got discussing the army list as this one. Then there'll be a Patreon exclusive vlog where I build up my Wag Rider army and we do a little mini tournament between the 4 of us, myself, Aaron, Leon and Louis, and then we've got our usual tournament review. Will follow very shortly after that, hopefully. But we can't wait. Hopefully we'll see some of you there, and if not, hopefully you'll enjoy the coverage. Let's get chatting.
So welcome to Two Trues Gaming. We are here doing we call them podcasts, but at the moment, they don't go out onto any form of social except for YouTube. So we're going to say video. What are you working on?
Working a lot. Working on the GT. I've got 26 wags in front of me that have been slap chopped, ready to paint, but they haven't. But they're pretty much all converted. I'll show the camera there.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah.
So I've got 26 wags to paint. This is pre-GT, which is just less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
I'm on hen board, but that's like a long-term project. I decided I was going to do the whole board in a week, and then it was cold, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So, so I've got the fundamentals of it are built, and then I need to flock and paint and all that kind of stuff. And then I've got 2 videos I'm editing at the moment. One is nobody cares about, so we'll gloss over the fact I've just filmed for the Pokemon board game. Sorry, everybody, there will be a Pokemon video happening at some point. But we've got an editor to help us with it, so it's not even going to use my time. It's great. But the other one is the 3-player battle. I've just gone through the raw footage of that.
Yes.
It was absolute classic.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I've literally just started going through it. I'm 20 minutes in. And it's been 18 and a half minutes of Leon deciding which way to attack. Because essentially, Aaron moves, and then I move, and we both kind of non-committal head toward the middle. Leon is then eagles, and has to decide with his 12-inch move who he's going to attack next. And honestly, we have whole conversations, and we cut back, and I'm like, he's still measuring.
You should just release that as a raw video. To the Patreons.
Just 18 minutes.
Got 18 minutes of Leon deciding whether to go left or right. I've just got some Mordor Urukai, so I got a voucher off my plumber for Christmas, which is a right result.
That rule, that cleaving rule that they added.
Oh, insane.
Doing two runes instead of 1 every time you roll 6.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit underdone. Like, nobody's mentioned it, because I think the models are a bit tricky to get and stuff, but...
Yeah.
So I've got 6 more of them, because I was like, that then gives me 18, and I'll turn 1 into a captain.
We did also just gloss over the fact you said your plumber got you a voucher. That is because you're a joiner. Plumbers don't buy people presents. Thank you for the work. Let me give you a voucher.
So he phoned, guy's name's Gav, phoned Leon just before Christmas and said, what does Aaron want? I'm going to get you a voucher. I've got you a voucher for a steak, for like a steak restaurant or something. But Aaron doesn't eat meat. So he's like, I know he doesn't really drink. So he's like, I won't get him a booze voucher or what does he? So I was thinking should I just get him a £50? Should I just get him a Games Workshop voucher? And then was like, yeah, he'd be all over that. And Leon was like, I would also like that. I like Games Workshop more than I like steaks.
Leon suffered for being a social person that's happy to go out and have a drink and watch the football.
And then I got some Warriors of Rohan, because those new models are incredible. They're my favourite thing to paint. I'm actually going to do a foot Rohan army, because they're just so I've just painted them off for some dismounts and they're really nice. So I was like, I'll just do a foot Rohan army.
Well, I genuinely want to convert them. We had Alex in the Patreon. Him and his son had converted them to be mounted, and I'm like, I think I actually want to do that now.
Well, the how-to is on the Instagram.
It is, yeah. Well, I'm going to follow that guide. It's probably going to be 2 years from now, but I will eventually get around to it.
So because we'll talk about GT lists, but I am painting Ian, that's up to that camera, who is half done. So I just need to highlight it. But I did the dapple on the horse.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
So
that's awesome.
And then, so basically, that's a kind of wash stage. So I just need to highlight, the horse is kind of done, but I just need to highlight him up. And then my riders of hopefully by the time this goes out, you'll just be able to insert a photograph of him done that. You remember for my 30th, so I just turned 36. So for my 30th, I painted Riders of Rohan for a big Pelennor game we had in the house that we'd organised.
Before you carry on, I am literally taking those exact riders to the GT this year. Are you about to say the same?
Well, I'm repainting them. I was looking at them and I was like, and I showed my wife and I was like, I need to switch these ones. They look fine. I'm like, no, look at them compared to these ones. And she's like, and I could see it in her eyes what she wanted to say. Yes, were you a child when you painted those?
And what we're saying here is that your painting has improved in the last 6 years, whereas mine is just stayed the same. So that's great. I'm rebasing them. That's it.
Me and Louis took them to when we did Riders of Irma for the doubles. So I took them then, and like they look fine. It's just then now I look at them and I'm like, I've just got to redo them. I've had my army in the cabinet for Throne of Skulls, and now I can't bring substandard painting. I'm quite enjoying doing it. I've got quite quick at doing the highlights.
Speed is key. You need to. That's when I started enjoying painting. Like, it's not. There were stuff that I painted when I was younger, and it took ages and didn't look very good.
Yes,
but at the point where you can just kind of knock it out and you get into a rhythm. Now I know that I'm going to slap chop, then contrast, and then dry brush. Unless it's like a big hero or a centerpiece. Yeah. But these wags, that's what they're getting. So I've not got long. But it's going to be slap chop and then dry brush over it. And it gives a pretty good 7 out of 10 result.
I've started doing a mix. So I've got some Uruk-hai I just slap chopped and washed. These I've then edge highlighted. So I've then had like one army that I've knocked out like 50 models dead quick, and then another army that I've not. So it just, and to be honest, the biggest thing that I found with the edge highlighting, I just add white to it. I could probably trim my paint collection down to about 12 paints because I just mix white in now.
You don't just do Ulthar and grey on Pallid Witchflesh like I do?
No. But what I have done, I've Zenithal highlighted. I use a Zenithal spray, which is the first time I've done that. So I wouldn't now slap chop. I would just Zenithal highlight.
Okay, so that's the same process in principle where you're spraying black.
So it's a basic go black or a dark tone, like your base tone. So like the Rohan, the brown's like the leather. Then just go along the top with it was Ghoul Grey from TT Combat or Army Painter or the Grey Seer or Wraith, just a white, anything, and don't bother with the mid grey. Just go along the top. Really? And then what I found is, the thing I found that doesn't look great when you slap chop is the faces are hit and miss. You then have to do quite a lot of work in the face, which is fine. Yeah. The face, because the face is at the top, the face is basically like you've sprayed it just with the contrast paint, and it's never had any black or brown on it, which then means the Gullum and flesh goes on it really nicely.
That's interesting. I might try that. That sounds quicker and easier. Do you want to talk about your GT?
Yeah. So I'm doing...
So what are you bringing? So the GT, well, let's just for the people that maybe don't know. The GT is good and evil tournaments, 700 points. So good always plays evil, evil always plays good. 6 games, so we're going to do all the scenarios, which is quite nice to know, whereas before you wouldn't know what you're going to get. So what are you bringing?
So I've got Riders of Irma, which is Irma, Gandalf, 2 Rohan captains, and then 10 riders, I'm going to say, 11 riders, including one with a banner, something like that, 10 or 11 riders.
So about 15 models then, is it?
50, yes, exactly. Yes, 15 models, so it must be 11 riders, yeah. So it's all about that big -1 turn. You just got to kill as much stuff as you can.
So you've got one turn where basically you give the opponent -1 on all their duel rolls.
Yeah.
And then, but then it's also got an added benefit this edition, because you loved it last edition, where you get free heroic combat with Irma.
Yes.
And +1 strength for all the riders, like regardless of range.
And this year, Gandalf's better.
Yes. Well, he's more combat-y.
And I think there's been a stealth improvement on Gandalf as well that people don't seem to be talking about. And that's going to link into, like, the monsters. He knocks them over. Now, Sorcerer's Blast knocks over monsters. There's no... Strength 6 doesn't knock them over. So I'm like, so you play the 3...
Is that not the case before?
Yeah, Strength 6 didn't get knocked over.
Oh, but you could knock the combat, couldn't you? And then that would do it.
Yes.
But you couldn't do the exit.
You couldn't do that. Yeah, exactly.
So now you can just go Balrog. Well, I suppose he's got 10 will, but you can get a troll.
But he's got banishment. So what you're doing is the Balrog. you've got Temo, you spend time circling a bit, banishing him, using up his will. You're wounding the leader if he doesn't resist it. And then also Heroic Channel, in some ways, is now better because that is a guaranteed 6 on that. So you go to the barrel. Right,
I couldn't agree more that channeling is better. I agree with that.
So what do you do? Well, you've kind of got to let it happen. Or you don't, you resist it. Then suddenly you go, right, channel Sorcerer's Blast, you've only got 3 will left. Knocks you over, Irma goes into your -1 turn, Heroic Strength. He's got 8 dice wounding the Balrog on force. With might. Yeah. Then Gandalf's got +1 to wound. Doesn't need to Heroic Strike so he can strength.
Because of the -1 turn.
Because of the -1 turn. So, and that's kind of the play against, I was thinking about the 3 trolls and stuff, which I think we'll see a bit of. It's well, you just kind of knock one of them over and then nail it. And then, that's the process.
There's a lot of that you've got. So my good army is also Rohan and also 15 models. I'm worried there's a lot of anti-Rohan and anti-Man now. Morannons go up to fight value 4. There's a lot of hatred Rohan on Wildman. Muster of Isengard gets hatred Man. Yeah. I'm twitching about my good army. I'm not going to lie.
I'm quite happy with mine. I think it outshoots, because again, then the trade-off is you can use Gandalf to Blinding Light if you want to. So you would back myself to outshoot most evil lists and outmagic them. And I think I've got a decent way of doing it. But equally, I also know that it's got a less than 50% win rate on Tabletop Admiral.
Yeah.
So I kind of started looking at the top and I was like, I've had this plan to take this army for 2 years now, since the last GT, and then they made it a lot better. And I was like, I don't want to take a meta army, and then apparently it's not, but it definitely looks better to me. I think it struggles against hordes a little bit.
I agree. You want the high value targets, don't you? It's obviously the Bay Awnings aren't in the game, but that's what you had before in doubles, where you go the -1 dual roll, you go into Bay Awnings, cavalry can reliably do 2 wounds a turn. If you get against spiders or something, it's a dream.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you just go in, defense 3 or whatever it is, and you just smash.
Where you're struggling would be something like the Necromancer, but even that, where 1 turn doesn't matter, it's a grind. So you need it. If you can get it so that 1 turn is really important, you win the game.
The other thing is the scenarios. You're probably all right at Fog of War and To the Death, and you might struggle a bit on Maelstrom.
I kind of thought I've got everything in here as Warband. So that's you bring Gandalf on first, then you bring Irma
to Gandalf.
Together, and then the characters don't really matter. Yeah. Actually,
and the other side, if you go on second and you can get them on their aim, Gandalf. In fact, does Gandalf have command or compelling?
No.
So you can't compel them to aim and trigger her combat. So no more moving on Gandalf.
No. But he's got
5/6 attack, so it doesn't matter.
5/6 attack, so it doesn't matter. And I think Gondring's a hand on a half sword now, which now he can roll a natural 6, so strength 5 +1 to wound. When he rolls a 6, it's so again, you're talking about your monsters, you're Sorcerer's Blasting the monster over, which then you are protected as well. You Sorcerer's Blast the monster over, they just stand up, so you don't need to you two-handed, and you don't need to strike necessarily. You might choose to, but you actually go, well, what are you going to do? You're just going to stand up. That's okay. I'll just Sorcerer's Blast you. I'll actually save the point. I might call the correct move next instead of striking to then Sorcerer's Blast you again.
We've got my good army is similar to yours. So I'm 15 models as well, which puts me down to 3 break, which is not 3 break, 25%.
Yeah.
And I'm Road to Helm's Deep. Not played with it yet at all. I've picked it because basically I want to do WAG attack for the channel, and I won't paint it if I'm not painting it for a tournament. But being forced into that, I'm kind of trying to think of different ways to win. The WAG side of it, I'm actually more confident on than I think I should be. The good side of it, less so. But it's basically Theoden, Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli, and then 6 Royal Guard, and then the rest riders.
Right, so you've got Royal Guard.
I've got Royal Guard. I've written it down. Yeah, I've got 6 Royal Guard. 4 of which I've got throwing spears. And then the crucial army bonus is that Legolas starts with Gimli as a passenger and can use Gimli's might, will, and fate as if it's his own. So he's got 6 might. He can't use them for modifying his bow, but he can use them for killing things in combat, heroic combat, and he can drop Gimli, who is then allowed to charge in. So
Can
if
Gimli
Legolas
throw
can
his
get,
axe as well?
I don't think so.
No. Be worth checking.
No,
That'd be quite good.
I will check that. Yeah, but then if Legolas can get a kill, power Gimli up, drop Gimli off like a little bomb.
Yeah.
And then the other one is I'm allowed to remount horses, which on paper looks incredible. The issue is it's at the end of the hero's move. So Aragorn gets dismounted. The following turn he could maybe move back into a rider. Then he becomes mounted. You've lost a turn of Aragorn being in combat. So unless you're early in the game, I'm thinking you just keep him on foot.
I can't see Aragorn's got Horse Lord as well. So when's he getting? It's only if he's not prone. He's not. You're saving the horse.
But even that with Brago, he's got a 6+ roll, which keeps him on.
Yes. Yeah. So which he could might. So
but Aragorn is my theory is you've always got a chance if you've got Aragorn. So obviously Theoden's not got his armour in this list. Legolas is great, but it's Aragorn's 3-point of might, and I think that's more valuable than it ever was before because of the changes to Heroic Strike. Before, Grishnak, Ugluk, whatever, they would come at you, I'm going to Heroic Strike. You use your 3-point to Heroic Strike back, and eventually they run out of might and you win that way. Now, they either might not be able to Heroic Strike, or they might not be able to reach Fight 7, or they only reach it on a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
He's then got his might to change his roll to a 6, or Heroic Strength, or Heroic Combat.
Actually, you get charged by a Nazgul, Heroic Strength.
Yeah, because then it can't knock you over.
Can't knock
so
you
you
over.
can only knock you over if it's a higher strength.
It has to throw you if it wants to knock you over, which then reduces the wounds he takes.
Yep.
So it's...
well, we talked about this with cavalry as well. You can't be knocked over by cavalry if you're strength 6 or higher. So even a Witch King on a charge into Aragorn, Heroic Strength might be a better defense because then you're standing up for next turn if you lose the combat. You potentially can hit them if you win the combat, and they're going to get less attacks against you if they win anyway. And it's 3-point of might.
I would say the only thing that worries me about when I took Aragorn to the Throne of Schools, the Arndril was absolutely the best 40 points to spend in that entire army.
Well, this is Heroic Strength. Heroic Strength and 200 weapon.
Yes.
And the 200 weapon roll in the 6s is like...
Yes.
I'm a player that I'd rather gamble.
Or, actually, you know what? Do you Heroic Defense every turn and 200 weapon? So when you do flip
and then if you lose, you
lose it. So you've always got your +1, and then you lose it.
You only win something like a Balrog could do that.
You could do that and go
then it changes to 5 by whatever, but he needs 6s on you. He might fluff. You've got might. Interesting.
And then his inclination is again to throw you, which again reduces the potential damage.
Yeah.
So
and you stop him heroic combating because against the Balrog, and that's 350 points. You're 170 or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you got with your good army a Smaug plan? Smaug is 700 points. We know at least one Patreon. I'm looking at you. Is bringing Smaug. What's your Smaug plan?
Hit it on that -1 turn. Just do as much damage as you can.
So my Smaug plan is use the 3 gold pieces. So you go in with Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn because I will be able to. You strike with Legolas and Gimli, and you strength with Aragorn, or you strength with Gimli, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just hope you get your wounds. If you don't get the wounds, at the point where you either kill him, and that's great, or at the point where you're nearly at 50% or 25%, the way that the game might end, you then, from behind cover, bring out your gold, and then you drag him out the middle. So in the last turn of the game, he's broken me. He then has to charge out away from the objective. I'm on the objective or off the board.
And actually, it's not. You daisy chain it as well. You go there,
exactly.
there, and then he has to keep
so
charging.
He's miles away.
Yeah.
And in Recon, you take him back up to his end of the board, and you're off the board, or the game ends, or whatever it is, and he can't shield, so you can kill yourself against him, which is awful. And if I play here, I'm sorry, but this is what's going to happen in theory. Except he's just going to melt me with fire before I get there. But you know. Okay, do you want to talk evil?
Yeah. So my evil side of the GT is obviously. We like to pair things and do things thematically. So I'm going to Assault on Helm's Deep. The bonus on your leader get the break at 66%, and like a proper break as well. The leader gets 3 wounds and 3 attacks. Yeah, every single time I've played the army, the leader only fights one combat, because if he's in combat, you've made a mistake, is my view on it. And ballistas reroll 1s to hit and 1 on the scatter table. 4 captains and a ballista, because the ballista it's either, because of how the warbands work, it's either the ballista or another captain and a guy with a sword and shield. So I was like, well, the ballista is actually, then that's 3 models. So actually, I also stick to my theme where I end up with more models if I take the ballista. So yeah, so it's 3 captains, a ballista.
And you put it in the chat with me and Louis and Leon. It's like, which is more scary, another captain or ballista?
You've just got to take the ballista, because you roll I played the guy that had, when I got Azog, and he got the ballistas, and you just hit Azog in the first turn, and then he hit, then he hit him with the second one. But inherently, even just knocking him off the wag has halved his capacity. Yeah. So, and you're looking at Eagles being properly a bit matchy as well. I'm like, well, you stick a bolt into an Eagle or an Ent, they've got a problem. Yeah. So it's so that, and then so that's 30. So then 33 Urukai, 7 berserkers, 7 crossbows, a couple of banners. 7 berserkers, because the berserkers have had the massive buff. So 200 weapons are better, and they're fight value 5 now. I mean, that's 2 huge buffs to the berserkers. Because you don't need to be afraid to go 2-handed with 2 pikes and a banner behind. Yeah.
Game on.
I've got 2 banners.
2 banners. That's
16 pikes.
Wow.
Because I'm wanting to do the scene where Emma rides down. So basically, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to build...
I don't remember all the berserkers in that scene.
Wait, berserkers on the front line. I'm not done. So he rides down, and obviously the berserkers are going up the wall. So I'm going to build a little bit of the deepening wall where I can then put my dismounts. So I can have my robot dismounts defending the wall against the berserkers and the ballista. So it's whether I get that built or not. It's
100% not going to happen.
No, it might not do.
And your main issue is going to be it's not going to be as good as the one that Damien built about 2 years ago, with his face as the sun.
I can't even think about that one. It upsets me.
I still see it in my nightmares, but yeah.
So that's what that's what I'm thinking. Then I've got to and I kind of thought about all the missions. There's no leader kills mission.
No.
So actually, it's the same with you and Theoden. You just need him at the back of life.
Yeah.
So actually, he just sits there. Ian was obviously a gamble in the other one, but it gives me 2 different ones. At Recon, I've got so many models. You actually, I've got 40 models. So actually, if I go 1 model thin, I cover the entire 48-inch board. Basically,
only 40. That's not as many as. Bear in mind.
Your GT list, I'm a little bit twitchy about my Riders of Ymir against.
We've said, haven't we, that basically if me and you play each other, both our evils win.
Yes.
There's no doubt that my evil is designed to kill cavalry. So I'm 44 Wag Riders. That's it.
What do you get? What are the bonuses?
It's Sharku, 3 captains, 44 models total. I've got 20 throwing spears and 10 bows.
You can't take 20 throwing spears.
You can, because you can get one of the bonuses, 50% throwing spears.
Oh, no.
So I've got 50% throwing spears, so I've got 20 throwing spears. Sharku gets a free heroic combat per turn, but bearing in mind that Sharku also gets +1 fight and +1 attack when he's mounted anyway, so it's fight 5, 3 attacks with a free heroic combat. So it's basically the same as your Aima, albeit fight 5.
How much will's he got? Because that's going to come into play if I play you.
It's not, because you'll be dead by then. Because my scouts would have got you, because I get to move D6 models at the start of the game, which is great. And then I get a special rule called Ambush or something, which essentially says you win Maelstrom.
Did you win Maelstrom when you did it?
I did win, but I did mess up the roll. I've only used the Wags in a 300-point tournament on 2x2 boards, and anyway, it's the whole thing. Check out the vlog on the Patreon if you're on that for a bit more info. But basically, the rule is I can pick who wins priority, so I pick the opponent to win priority. They then move on. I can then pick where I move on, and charge the turn I move on, and automatically pass terror checks the turn I move on. So even Army of the Dead, I can get in, get the charge, and then the last bonus is I get the charge bonus against cavalry. I don't knock them to the ground, but I get 2 attacks when I charge them.
Wow, okay. What are you going to do if you roll Maelstrom with Aragon?
I know. So this is my strategy. This is my GT strategy, which I'll talk about on the way to GT.
Hope you roll the right dice.
This is the scenarios. Play the scenarios. I'm not good enough. I'm a good player. I'm like 8 out of 10, which is great. I'm very happy to be 7 or 8 out of 10. But you got to be 10 out of 10 to win the GT.
I don't know. Louis got very close.
He did get very close. he's not a 9 out of 10 either. But if the scenarios go my way in the GT with these armies, if I get Maelstrom and Recon with the WAGs and destroy the supplies, that should be 2 wins or 3 wins.
You've got to win all 3 of those. If you don't win all 3 of those, you've had a massive.
But then you got to the death with Aragorn, which is very doable. Fog of War with Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Theoden should be doable.
And they can't stop Theoden.
There's one other scenario that I can't remember. So
no, I can't remember.
The domination, which is good for WAGs, but difficult for Aragorn.
Good for both.
Need to remember that your leader gets thingy 3. Dominant 3.
Dominant 3, yes.
So that for both your Uruk High leader and my Theoden who are at the back, get them on the objectives at the end for a cheeky 3 models. I'm very happy that we're picking theme arms as well, because you've obviously gone Relief of Helm's Deep, I've gone Wag Attack. Louis and Leon are actually both gone themey as well, which you should mention. So Leon will be bringing absolute Gothmog with Army of Gothmog with 2 catapults.
One of the Patreons summed it up in the Discord. He kind of like broke it down. So he's like, so in Maelstrom, you have 2 catapults. Then you've got Guritz, that means you get +1 or -1 to where you come on. And then you just bring Gothmog on behind him because it's the same. And Leon was like, yes, exactly. And it's like, what?
That's not the summary that I saw. The summary I saw on the Patreon Discord was, there's a special place in hell for people like you, which summarises it much more succinctly. Oh, it's going to be carnage. So he's got 2 catapults in Gothmog, and then the other half is Return of the King, which he's gone all 3 hunters, because the only deliberation really is Gimli or more dead, but he's gone Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, King of the Dead.
Well, his actual deliberation was no King of the Dead, and do...
You have to take King of the Dead.
Do Pelennor.
Oh, sorry.
Pelennor, and get your free heroic combat.
Oh.
But you pay for Onderl. So there's like a 40-point hit, but then you're at that point, you're like, well, actually, sack off the King of the Dead and take him on a horse.
So I've not played with either of my armies at the points that is meant to be yet. I've played 10 games total. We did 8, including 4 match play, 4 narrative. I did 2 with James, and I've done 4 at 300 points. That's all my games this edition. I'm a bit twitchy. But do you know who that's more than? So Louis hasn't played a single game yet, and he won't be until the night before the GT when they get to our house at 5 o'clock or whatever. So he's gone themey again. He's gone Arnor and Host of the Witch King, hasn't he? But his Host of the Witch King is low numbers, maximum magic. Just 3 barrel eyes, is it? 3 barrel eyes. The Shadow of Rudar and the Witch King.
Yeah.
And he's just hoping he fights Aragorns and big targets.
But there's an argument there. He has to wound the leader. There's no way that between Curse and Black Dart, you're wounding the leader.
Yeah.
Keep your banner alive. Just win everything 4-0.
Or win everything 5-4.
Yeah. Well, how do you stop it? How do you stop then? You're just going to get paralysed. You go into combat with 1 orc, suddenly you've got a problem because you're paralysed.
Yeah. Because it turned a weapon or double attacks, anything,
Yeah, you actually, you basically have to keep your leader out of combat, I think, to keep him alive and just taking the wounds from the Witch King. Because then you can resist
and Louis is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he is actually a good player. He will shield with the orcs where he needs to. And this is his Arnor list is also really low numbers, but he's got like 3 captains, Melbeth, Arvidui, and another hero.
Yeah.
And he's just going to, I imagine his plan will be shield with warriors and go for the 4+ save on the heroes, make sure the heroes have got spear support, and grind it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's not, I don't want to play those armies, I'm not going to lie. Especially with my good army, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Theoden against 5 barrow eyes.
Oh, God. It's just, I would do all right against that because Gandalf's got
banishment.
Got banishment. So you straight away, you're like, well, actually, you know what? First turn of the game, do you heroic channel with Gandalf and go, right, 1 will, Witch King, banishment.
Well, the issue is he's heroic channeling, your stuff is broken turn 1.
Yes.
So it's a roll-off, a big roll-off.
I've got fortified spirit. Or whatever it is now. So do that on Gandalf.
If you can get it off first. Yeah, so you need to
but this is it. The missions don't start next to each other. There's only one that starts next to each other. Everything else is... And there's nothing that forces you to be... Like, there's no contest of champions where you have to be in the middle.
Which brings me to the last army I wanted to ask about. So I have Smaug in my head. Like, he's the how do you beat Smaug? How do you beat Eagles? The other one that worries me, or armies in the vein, are you can get 33 Mirkwood Rangers.
Yes, I'm
How
struggling
have you
against
got a
that.
plan for shooting? You've got, because you almost going 1-for-1 with your Uruks. And my Wags, they've all got Sharpshooter, so they can 5+ the Wags, and all of a sudden I'm dead.
Yeah, but that's all right. You just shoot at March first time and then get up next to them. They've then not killed anything.
No, they Sharpshooter to hit the rider.
Sorry.
And then it's 5+, and I'm down with 33 bows. Because they'll get 2 rounds of shooting over because I can't charge if I'm within 6 inches. If I'm out of 6 inches because they're elven cloaks. If presuming they've got a bit of cover.
Yeah, I don't know what to do again. I mean, I'm just going to have to walk. You just play the mission. You just play the mission and then
play the objectives and. Well, this is the thing. At some point, they have to come out and get the objectives. If that's recon, if that's destroy spies, they can't. Or they can shield. They can shield.
They can.
So you got to get into Legolas and Tyrell and try and die. Oh, it's a whole thing. I think we're all aiming for a solid mid-table, but it's going to be good. I'm interested to see who will finish highest out of us. That is still a thing. I can't pick out the 4 of us. We're all even amongst ourselves. I'm very excited.
What are you doing against 2 catapults?
So I've actually got a good plan. I was planning on curling up into a ball and crying. Because, I mean, there's nothing you can do. I've got 15 models. I mean, you march with Aragorn. You shoot the crew with Legolas.
Which crew? Left or right? Left or right?
It's over. Well, why have I taken these armies is the main question. But if we cannot wait for the GT, genuinely so excited. There's quite a few patrons going as well, so we'll see all that. But if you are a patron, I will have a vlog up sometime very shortly after the GT because Aaron, Louis and Leon are turning up at 4 o'clock the day before. We're going to have 2 tables set up next to each other and we're going to try and have 2 games. Very mini tournament.
You're going into those games. Which 2 armies are you taking?
I don't want to play Louis' evil or Leon's evil or your evil. Weirdly, I'm more confident in my Wags against all of your good, but my road to Helm's Deep doesn't do well against your Uruks.
Leon doesn't
do well against catapults, and it doesn't do well against Louis' magic. I think I'd take your Assault on Helm's Deep with my good.
Yes, because I've only got 1 siege equipment. Leon buggers your Wags. With his Army of the Dead.
Because he's got Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead's a nightmare. Unless I get Maelstrom, when I get that gives me a turn of immunity to the charge, which to terror. Sorry.
Right.
What about you? Go on then. Who you taking out of me and Louis?
Obviously, your road to Helm's Deep.
Why haven't I done it? I wanted to take Lyndon with Gilgalad, and I was like, I can't turn up with Lyndon from the Second Age and the Wags. But I mean,
you definitely can. You definitely can. I would take the Army of the Dead as well with my Urukai. Decent courage on the Berserkers, and then
Berserkers and Pikes.
But because I've got so many Pikes, so even when then you've always got 3 models in on 1 because of the Pike, or like on 2 because it's got
his
spear,
heroes love fighting you though.
But it's the same boat. They can't lose a combat. They burn might quickly because they can't lose a combat. Yeah. And you've got the Ballista. I'd take, I mean, yours obviously, but then Leon's. Louis I don't fancy because he's got
equal fight value, 5+ save.
Fight, 5+ save, 4+.
You've got the same weaknesses as well against Louis, which actually gives him a strength where he had a weakness before. He's got no mobility, but you can't spread around the board either, nor can he. So
I've got March though with might that doesn't matter. I've got 8 points in my
got 3 captains. He's got captains going out of the eyeballs.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, watch this space.
Sorry for the slightly abrupt end there. We went off on a whole tangent predicting what might be revealed last Thursday when this video was always going to be released afterwards. So wasn't our best move there. But great news about the army book. Great news about Imrahil. And we'll see some of you soon at the GT, hopefully. Thank you to all the Patreons for all your support. I'm still not sure which side of the screen you end up. But it really does mean a lot. And we'll see you soon.
He's the poster child for the armies of the Lord of the Rings book. You know, the book characters. Glorfindel and Imrahil.
Yeah.
So Glorfindel's got this amazing new model. I wouldn't expect Imrahil to be plastic, but a Forge World Glorfindel equivalent, I could definitely see that, especially because his model is not good. I've thought of it would have been April Fool's or something like that, which we can't do now. Although April Fool's, I've always wanted to
prank you and take your exact army to the same tournament you're going to. And then I'll be like, surprise, it's dropping on April. But I can't do it to other people. But if I turn up to this GT with Riders of Warhammer and Assault on Helm's Deep...
You probably could do with that. It's if I take something at like...
Yeah, we
something
can't
like
turn
that.
up with 9 trolls between us.
Yeah.